What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So I'm so impatient, man. I hate waiting for car parts. So what we're gonna do today is basically just take off the fuel injector, the fuel pressure sensor right there. We're gonna go ahead and take that off. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the strut tower brace, even though it's not really required, but I want you guys to be able to actually see what I'm doing. It's very simple, you know, but we basically just gonna go ahead and prep everything for tomorrow's install. So the part should be here tomorrow, which is Wednesday. We'll go ahead and get that basically set up so we can just go ahead and remove everything and just be done with it. So right now, the only thing I did was basically just unplug this connector. You know, for those of you who don't know, this little yellow piece slides in and out. You pull it out, and then you're able to push this part in to remove the connector. Trying to make sure you guys can see that. So I have, it's actually zip tied currently. There is a spot for, you know, a wrench back here. Then there's a spot for the wrench on the line. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it zip tied. That way there's minimal movement. That way I can kind of get a wrench on there, hold it, and then twist that off. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna actually do is remove, there's two 15mm bolts on each side to remove the strut tire brace. Okay, so with, hopefully it focuses, focus. There we go. All right, so with your sensor, you're not gonna have this black piece on there, okay? So this is an adapter from Ford. Okay, if you can see that. All right, so it's a Ford Innovations adapter to allow it to connect to the connectors on there. So I'll still need to actually take this off. There is an O-ring inside of here. Hopefully that's not damaged, but there is an O-ring inside of here that needs to be removed as well. I'll reuse it if it's not damaged or anything like that. If not, I'll just have to find a replacement. Okay, so I went ahead and loosened up the adapter piece. So let me go ahead and remove that so I can show you all what it looks like. All right, so this is what the normal piece will look like. So when we get our replacement piece tomorrow, this is exactly what it's going to look like. If you look closely, there's an O-ring at the base of the threads. That actually needs to be added to the next piece. So I'm gonna basically inspect it, I'm gonna clean it off, make sure there's no leaks. It wasn't leaking from this part anyway, so I'm going to basically check that to see if it's cool. If not, I'll just get a replacement one. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know where I got the part from, which is Rock Auto. I've actually never purchased anything from Rock Auto before, but they have a very extensive catalog on there where you can pretty much find anything you want. Okay, so it's pretty cool. Shipping wasn't bad at all. It was like $7 for shipping. And there was actually a cheaper shipping version than what I chose. So I think the original shipping version is $3.99. So this adapter is basically just going to go on here. It's going to twist on. Obviously, you're going to have the O-ring on here first. And then this part twists back onto the line. You know, obviously, you still use the thread sealer, and you're going to do the first 3 threads and then get it twisted on. So I am probably not going to show that process in the video. I'll probably show the removal of it because it's very simple as far as just twisting it on. It literally took 2 seconds. So if you're not savvy enough to do that part, then you probably shouldn't be doing it at all, to be completely honest with you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get it cleaned up. I'm gonna get the thread sealer on there, and I'm gonna go ahead and get it on the vehicle. So, all right, so this is the next day. I might start the Shelby later. This is what the assembly looks like, put back together. You can see that white stuff right there, the fresh white stuff. That's the thread sealer. I need to wipe that off actually, because that's not gonna actually dry because it needs to not have oxygen basically to cure. So I'm gonna wipe that off just so it doesn't get messy. So it hasn't yet been 24 hours. I'm just basically playing it safe. You know, I don't want to take this apart again. But I am going to just kind of zip tie it up here a little bit. I'm not going to have it as low as it was before, just so I can have easier access to it going forward. But that's what it is. You know, it's very, very, very simple thing, and hopefully it works. Hopefully it works. All right, so I think it's had enough time to cure. I'm gonna go ahead and just plug it back in. I'm not gonna actually secure it just yet because I do want to make sure there's no leaks first. All right, so this is the moment of truth. Got everything hooked back up. I'll zip tie it, you know, once I make sure that there's no leaks. I'm gonna prime it one more time, and then I am back. I am back in the Shelby. There are no more leaks. As you saw in the video, I actually did the install for the fuel pressure sensor. There are some things I kind of want to tell you guys, about that, the fuel pressure sensor. You just want to make sure when you're actually doing the install, if you decide to use Permatex, the high temp, or the Loctite 567, thread seal it, you want to ensure that it actually, look at the technical data sheet and actually ensure that you're verifying the cure times, okay? The cure times are important to make sure you don't actually have any leaks. So with the Permatex high temp thread sealant, the cure time is 24 hours at room temperature. But if you look at the actual technical data sheet, it's actually going to say their room temperature is 73 degrees. Okay, so if it's sitting in a garage or something like that, and you're not in a very warm climate, it's not going to be at 73. It's not going to be at 73 degrees, and it's going to take longer to cure. Okay, so when I actually did the install the first time, number one, I didn't wait 24 hours. Okay, because it said, you know, it allows a certain amount of pressure or whatever almost instantly. You know, whatever. You know, I kind of waited. It was more like, you know, 15 to 20 hours, maybe 15 to 17 hours. And I started it. It wasn't leaking badly, but, you know, I would see a drop or two every now and then. So I went ahead and took it all apart again. Well, not completely, but just the part that was leaking. I took that piece apart, cleaned it with a wire brush, then reapplied the thread sealant. And this time, you know, on the technical data sheet, it also says that it will cure in an hour at 220 degrees, okay? So what I did was I actually took a heat gun and I put it through multiple cycles. My heat gun personally goes, it's like, one is like 600 something degrees and the other one goes up to like 900 something degrees. You know, it gets hot as hell. So I actually took it, I didn't, you know, bake it or anything like that, but I took it and I put it through some heat cycles, okay? So I would get the, I put some foil under it so it didn't burn anything under it. And I, you know, heat up the fitting, let it cool down, heat up the filling, you know. So I did that like 4 times, you know, and that was yesterday, you know. So today, I basically just let it run for a while and there's no leaks at all. So I basically kind of just tried to expedite that process, you know. So it was a learning experience, you know, for sure, as far as, you know, just making sure that you're actually using the right thing, you know. So I'm rolling. So I want to tell you guys about some parts that I ordered that's coming up. I'll be doing some reviews and installs here very soon. So if you don't know, on these GT350s, you know, a lot of people complain that you spend so much money on them. It's not that much money, but you spend a decent amount of money on these vehicles. And, you know, when you lift the hood, you got to use the hood prop instead of, you know, some type of, you know, dampering system that a lot of vehicles come with. So on these cars, there is an option to install hood dampening systems yourself. They're pretty cheap, about $100. So I went with the red line version. So that'll be here on Saturday in a few days. Well, actually, it's tomorrow. They'll be here tomorrow, but I'll probably get to it like early next week to go ahead and install that. We'll do a video. Another thing that I'm trying to do, because I'm basically just trying to get ready for the season, man, and, you know, some trips down to Mexico, you know, some trips to the track, things like that. I have decided to get rid of not get rid of them, keeping them obviously, but I'm taking them off the vehicle. I'm taking the Mickey Thompson. I have the ET Street SS on the rear right now, and so I'm going to take those off because it's just too much sway for me. You know, this car is not meant for the drag strip. Well, I'm not gonna say it's not meant for the drag strip. It's not built for the drag strip. Okay, the way I built it is more so an everyday street, you know, street strip use vehicle. Okay, so it's an all-around vehicle. Okay, so those ET Streets, man, they're good tires for the track. You know, I mean, they're pretty decent. You know, but you know, when you're out on the street, since the sidewalks are so soft, it gets so much wobble. And I mentioned that in the other video when I actually first did the review. There's a lot of wobble, and I don't like it, okay? Because obviously I spend most of my time on the street. So I went with the Toyo Proxies, the R888Rs. Now this is a tire that's recommended for a lot of people. You know, a lot of people that actually do autocross or something like that. You know, they use these tires. I've seen people just on the street using them, even at the track. So the biggest advantage that you're going to get with these, you know, you might have just a tad bit less traction, you know, when at the drag strip, but you're going to get equally as good of traction on the street, and you're going to have that hard sidewall thickness, that hard sidewall. That way, there's no constant flexing and compression with that sidewall while you're driving at high speeds, and that's going to actually, you know, make it more stable, you know, when you're actually at high speeds on the street, which is, you know, something I like to do. So that was the decision with that. So we'll have those in hopefully within the next week or two. I'm not sure what shipping, I don't know, you know, but you know, hopefully within the next week or so, and I'll get those put on and we'll do a review. I did hear that they're noisy, but my exhaust is loud. Right now it's on quiet mode, so you know, you might be able to hear it, might not be able to hear it, but I usually drive, you know, in sport mode, you know, unless I'm recording a video. So yeah, so that's what I got coming, man. But anyway, I appreciate y'all, you know, watching the video, of course. It's a short one, you know, just kind of like a real techie video. I need to think of a clever name to do like my little tech installs, you know. Think of like a clever name to do those tech installs, you know, for my YouTube, the video title. So if you guys can think of anything, drop it in a comment. But otherwise, you know, I'll see y'all.